Now on CoastTV News.
Coastal closure. What is the expected impact in Ocean City as the Route 50 drawbridge shuts down for repair work?
Plus, hospital cost control. We look at the legislation getting reviewed today in the Delaware State Senate and how a law passed 2 years ago could get changed.
Frigid wind chills greeting us out the door this morning. Bundle up. We have a very cold day ahead of us. I'm tracking even more Arctic air and the threat of a weekend snowstorm.
And seeing red.
Go diving toward the end zone. Touchdown!
Indiana football is the king of the college football world after winning the national championship game against Miami.
This is CoastTV News Today.
It is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for being up with us during our 5 o'clock hour.
Grace, how do you like your mid-January cold mornings?
Is it mid? We're already to the 20th. This year is just flying by, and now we have like actual winter weather. We're really in it now. We had those nice 60-degree days, which I know you were living
snow the other day.
I did like the snow.
I know.
I liked coming back.
You would.
Snow, except I think that it's one of those days where people are like, oh, I got to get out. You know, this weekend especially, got to get out the ice scraper, got to get your car off.
It was a chore.
I'm sure that
ice
you're ready.
Scraping. A lot
You're
of
putting
scraping.
it on your calendar. Yeah. Chris told me about it.
All right, well, speaking of Chris, let's get the first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono. He's in the Weather Center. Chris, I feel like this is a cut and paste type of statement. It is another freezing morning.
You got that right. Good morning, Matt and Grace. Yeah, you got it right. Dust off that winter coat if it's in the back of the closet. Break out the gloves and hats. We have some bitter wind chills that are going to be greeting you out the door this morning. We are at 30 degrees in Ocean City. And you look at the temperatures, you're saying, you know what, temperatures aren't that bad. It's, you know, we've had this before this winter, 25 in Georgetown, 28 in Lewis. But when you factor in the winds, it feels like 15 in Rehoboth, 12 in Harrington, and these are going to drop a few more degrees here over the next hour or two. Winds, we're seeing wind gusts to 24 miles an hour, Indian River Inlet, 22 in Salisbury, so a rather blustery start to the day. Now, we had a few thin high clouds overnight. Those are beginning to thin out as a front pushed through overnight, but we have high pressure building in through the area. So expect wall-to-wall sunshine for the day today, but we're going to struggle to get to the 30-degree mark. Those wind chills begin around 9 this morning and only feeling like the teens throughout the day today. You see, we only rise to around 29 through the afternoon, feeling like 19 to 20 through the day today. We will talk about slight moderation in temperature through the middle part of the week, and then the bottom drops out over the weekend. We're looking at more Arctic air and that threat of snow. We'll talk more about that snowstorm potential coming up.
Thank you, Chris. And our top story this hour, starting today, the Route 50 bridge in downtown Ocean City is set to close for a few weeks to traffic.
CoastTV News reporter Elisa Weber is live in our first alert weather Jeep in Ocean City. Elisa, the Maryland State Highway Administration says a detour is in place.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. We actually just drove over that Route 50 bridge. Right now, we are at the exit that's off of the bridge here. We're going to show you what that looks like outside right now. Right now, that bridge, it is still open, but we expect it to close later today. That is according to MDOT, and they expect that closure to be in place until February 3rd. And then while that closure is in place, there are going to be detours. We will tell you about those a little later on, but MDOT says the repairs being done require the drawbridge to be upright. MDOT says the work being done is to extend the service life of the 84-year-old bridge. There is a detour in place, which MDOT says will direct drivers to U.S. Route 113 to Maryland Route 90 to Coastal Highway. And after February 3rd, MDOT says that single lane closures will be in place as they continue to work on the bridge, with the expected date of completion to be March 20th. Back to you.
Thank you, Elisa. Okay, let's take a look at what Elisa is talking about from our Coast Copter. Drivers will have to detour around the full closure of the Route 50 drawbridge. Officials say now through February 3rd. Traffic is getting routed up US 113 near Berlin, over Route 90, and back into town on Coastal Highway. Ocean City's fire department urging drivers to plan ahead, slow down, and give themselves extra time. The department says staffing and resources are getting adjusted so emergency coverage remains strong on both sides of the Assawoman Bay.
Following the full closure and detour, occasional single-lane closures will continue until repairs are finished. According to officials, these are expected by March 20th, weather permitting, and during that time, the channel under Route 50 bridge will remain closed to marine traffic as crews repair the draw's span mechanical system. Officials say some vessels may still pass under the flanking spans.
Happening today in Dover, Delaware State Senate taking up Bill 213, which are some tweaks to the law that created the Diamond State Hospital Cost Review Board.
That was a big issue with hospitals. Under the law passed in 2024, the board would have authority, in some cases, to approve or change hospital budgets. It prompted a lawsuit by Christiana Care.
And last week, Senate Bill 213 reported out of the executive committee and was forwarded to the ready list.
While there are still a number of requirements for hospitals, the act does remove the board's authority to change budgets. And in Maryland, a number of proposed bills are set for a hearing in the Senate today. According to the state, Senate Bill 110, or Mateo's Law, requires anyone involved in a deadly crash or accident that results in life-threatening injuries to be tested for impaired driving. Senate Bill 55 requires police to state all reasons for a traffic stop on a citation or police report. And Senate Bill 12 requires landlords to provide air conditioning for renters in apartment buildings with 4 or more units.
Happening today, discussion, possible action over safety upgrades for 2 intersections in Lewis. One of those is at New Road and Foxgull Lane. A trail stops at the road with no crosswalk. It leaves people trying to walk or bike across to act as their own crossing guard. It's a similar story at the intersection of Gills Neck Road and the Lewis-Georgetown Trail. And people we spoke to tell us they are hopeful for some crosswalks or additional signs.
Feel it's necessary. Yes, because there's a lot of seniors who live here and people bike that live in this area and probably other neighborhoods who pass through here. And yes, definitely, I think it needs to be done because we have to be safe.
And the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee will meet tonight at 5:30 to discuss these possible improvements.
This just in, we are only a few hours away from learning more about the musical performances at this year's Delaware State Fair. According to organizers, the next installment of artists will be announced at noon today. The artists already revealed to be in attendance are Bailey Zimmerman, along with Chandler Walters for King and Country, and Weird Al Yankovic with Puddles the Pity Party, the Singing Clown. The Delaware State Fair takes place from July 23rd to August 1st.
Last night in Miami, the Indiana Hoosiers capped an improbable ride to the top of the college football world. Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza's 12-yard touchdown run midway in the fourth quarter sealed a 27-21 win over Miami in the championship game. Indiana is the national champs, and we'll have more on this game later on CoastTV News Today. President Trump is upping the ante in his bid to take over Greenland, telling Norway's leader that he can now think less about peace and more about what is, quote, good and proper for the United States.
NBC's Alice Barr showing us that European Union countries talk options to counter the president's tariff threats with trade measures of their own.
President Trump overnight leaving the National Football Championship in Florida and looking ahead to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
It's going to be a very interesting Davos,
where he'll come face to face with many of the European leaders antagonized by his intensifying push to take control of Greenland and tariff threats against 8 countries and close allies standing in his way.
I don't think they're going to push back too much. Look, we have to have it. They have to have this done. They can't protect it.
The president responding to a revelation from Norway's prime minister who says he reached out about Greenland and that President Trump replied in part, quote, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace. The Norwegian leader pointing out the Nobel Committee selects the prize winners, not Norway's government. President Trump rejecting that.
If anybody thinks that Norway doesn't control the Nobel Prize, they're just kidding.
while adding that he doesn't care about the prize. That as President Trump declined to answer when NBC News asked if he would take Greenland by force. Close Republican allies downplayed that idea.
I don't foresee military intervention in Greenland. It's a small population of people, and I think diplomatic channels is the way to go. And I think
the president maintains the U.S. needs to own Greenland to guard against what he sees as threats from Russia and China to take it over, all amid the growing risk of a fresh trade war with close allies. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Milford police continuing to investigate a deadly crash that happened early Monday morning. You're looking at the location of the crash on your screen. Right now, police say it happened just after 6:30 a.m. A BMW was heading north on North Rehoboth Boulevard near Purdue Farms when an 81-year-old woman was hit. According to officials, she was taken to a hospital where she later died. Milford police continuing to investigate the cause of that crash.
New this morning, Pharmacy Market has announced plans to relocate to a larger space in Milford, with the move expected to happen in early spring. The market's new home is at 301 Northeast Front Street, next to the Fur Baby Pet Resort Milford location. Pharmacy Market will remain open as usual at its current location on South Walnut Street until the move is complete, with no changes to regular hours. The new Front Street location will feature a larger single-floor layout, parking right outside, room for shopping carts, and space for community gatherings.
Now we're just getting started here on this hour of CoastTV News Today.
Coming up, Milford, one of the many places on Delmarva to honor Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy. What activities took place on Monday?
And a red carpet gala, how this event celebrates Latino entrepreneurs in Sussex County.
And First Alert meteorologist Chris Rastrobono is in the Weather Center. He's updating those frigid temperatures. We check in with Chris next.
Good Tuesday morning, Delmarva. Frigid air greeting us this morning as we make our way out to work and school. 26 in Salisbury, winds out of the northwest. It feels like 11 in Easton, feels like 15 in Georgetown, and it feels like 15 in Lewis, with those winds gusting anywhere between about 20 to 25 miles an hour. We're going to continue to see that northwest wind flow throughout the day. We're going to have clear skies through the morning and afternoon, but I'll tell you what, we only warm up to about 29 degrees this afternoon, so you're going to need the winter coat, you're going to need the layers throughout the day today, and it's going to feel more like the teens through the afternoon. We will talk more about more Arctic air down the road and the threat of a possible significant winter storm over the weekend. I'll have the latest on that here in minutes.
La Plaza, Delaware, and the Delaware Alliance of Latino Entrepreneurs, also known as DALE, recently celebrated their New Year's Gala. As CoastTV News' Ana Sofia Roman shows us, it meant a lot for the community.
Music, a red carpet, and dancing. All to celebrate Latino businesses and culture. For event organizers, it was a great achievement.
It's something that has never been done in Sussex County. It's one of the first ones honoring Latino entrepreneurs. So I think it is such a huge success and event, and it shows how far the Latino community has advanced.
For the first time this year, DALE launched the Delaware Latino Business Awards for 8 different categories. One of the nominees in the Beauty and Personal Care category was Lisbeth Aceves.
It was so awesome for my friends and family and my clients all to partner together, Hispanic, American, all kinds, to just come together and help nominate me for an award that's never existed before. It was an honor. And
since 2021, almost 500 businesses in southern Delaware have joined DALE.
It means that we're still very community driven, we're still very involved with our community. It shows that we are united and that we continue to foster that culture.
Celebrating businesses, one entrepreneur at a time. For the Ties That Bind Us, I'm Ana Sofia Roman.
Time is 5:18, and we are giving you a live look at Delaware's capital city of Dover. Chris, we're waking up to another cold day.
Yes. Yeah, we have some bitter wind chills out there this morning, approaching single digits across portions of the peninsula. We're clear and dry in Ocean City, 29 degrees. Temperatures not all too bad. We're in the mid-20s, lower 20s, western portions of the county, 22 in Harrington. But look at the wind chills. It feels like 10 in Harrington, feels like 13 in Redden, 13 in Rehoboth with that wind coming out of the west-northwest. Gusts anywhere between 20 to 25 miles an hour greeting us out the door this morning. We have small craft advisories that continue through this evening for the entire Delmarva coast as well as through the bay. Just a few high clouds we had passed through overnight, but we're going to see plenty of sunshine through the morning and afternoon. High pressure building in, and high pressure is really going to be our friend here for the next few days. Now, we go from 29 today to 51 on Thursday. That is the pick of the week. If you forgot to take your Christmas decorations down, I would suggest that it's the day to do it, because unfortunately the bottoms are going to drop out as we go into the weekend. Mostly sunny skies. We top out around 29 in Georgetown. Those wind chills, it's going to feel like the teens for most of the day today, despite the sunny skies. Now the good news is the winds are going to relax as we go into the evening and overnight. We'll have those wind gusts anywhere between 20, 25. The winds will relax. Now with that said, as the winds relax and the skies clear, the temperatures are going to bottom out. We're going to fall to 12 in Greenwood, 14 in Georgetown overnight, and 18 in Long Neck. So that's what's going to greet us tomorrow morning. But by tomorrow afternoon, we're going to get up into the mid-40s. So that's going to feel pretty good as that southwest flow kicks in. And then by Thursday, we're pushing back into the mid-50s. Precipitation chances ramp up into Sunday. Yes, you've heard the rumors. There we're tracking the threat of a potential widespread snowstorm. We have Arctic high pressure to the north setting the stage. We did not have Arctic high pressure over this past weekend. Snow begins early Sunday morning, overspreads the region. Now there's still a lot of uncertainties as the exact track of the storm system. How close does it get to the coast? We could have some mixing issues at the beaches, but the likelihood of that is still pretty high at this point. Now we are going to see those temperatures fall into the 20s as that Arctic high pressure builds in over the weekend. That sets the stage for that potential snow, and that could linger even into Monday depending upon the timing and exact track of that area of low pressure.
Thank you, Chris. As we just heard, we have this cold stretch to deal with. The Delaware Department of Health and Social Services is opening warming centers today from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. In Sussex County, this is at the Shipley State Service Center, Adams State Service Center, and Laurel State Service Center. In Kent County, it's at the Williams State Service Center and Smyrna State Service Center. And in Newcastle County, if you're up that way, it's at the Canby Park Office, Claymont State Service Center, and Churchman's Corporate Center.
Looking across Delmarva, more warming centers in Somerset County will be open today and Wednesday. According to officials, the Crisfield and Princess Anne public libraries, they're going to be open 10 a.m. to 6:45 p.m. for anyone who needs to get out of the cold.
And again, staying on this topic, due to the temperatures and increased energy usage, Milford officials are now asking people to help conserve power. And their ideal time today is from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. City says it can help lower costs for customers by lowering their thermostat by 2 to 3 degrees and wear warmer clothing.
Coming up next, Milford was one of the many places on Delmarva to honor Dr. King's legacy. Which businesses held service opportunities on Monday? We'll be right back. Milford held a number of events to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday. Downtown Milford Incorporated hosted the free family-friendly event at the Milford Senior Center that featured music, reflection, and a keynote speech from Cliff Von Howell focused on service, equality, and unity. CoastTV photojournalist Matt Hipsman shows us how Milford celebrated the powerful day.
Tonight we came here to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the federal holiday of Dr. Martin Luther King, and then also to celebrate his legacy and celebrate the impact that he had on changing America.
I believe with all my heart that we are not just studying the life and the works and the methods of Dr. King, we're actually living it and putting it into action.
Said love when others said hate.
The children are our future leaders. They will inherit what we leave behind, and in order to move the country forward and to progress to replace that beloved community that Dr. King talked about, it's going to take the children and each generation after that making sure they stand on that.
There's a little bit of all ethnicities in the city of Milford, so we live the culture and we live the dream of Dr. King very well.
They call us together, not only to reflect, but to recommit ourselves to the unfinished work of justice.
Thank you. Thank you. If we listen and take heed to the teachings, then we will ultimately get back to bending that moral arc to justice.
Hope this Tuesday morning is treating you well. Delmarva, we have some cold, dry conditions and some bitter wind chills greeting us out the door this morning. We're at 29 in Ocean City, and we're in for yet another sunny day. We're going to be about 10 degrees colder than where we were yesterday. Highs topping out right near 30 degrees in Ocean City and Fenwick Island. Those winds will gust about 25 miles an hour out of the west-northwest. We'll be at 28 through Rehoboth and Lewis with those mostly sunny skies. A very cold day in Cambridge and Crisfield. Sunny skies right around 30, but feeling more like 19 degrees throughout the afternoon. Congratulations, Joan Warrington of Harbison, Delaware, on winning an umbrella from CoastTV. I'll have the latest on the possibility of snow over the weekend coming up in the next half hour.
Thank you, Chris. And after the break, Delaware State Fair, when organizers will announce more musical guests.
Also, review at Legislative Hall what is expected for a bill regarding hospital budgets.
And Route 50 bridge closure begins. How long officials say roadwork is expected to last. CoastTV News Today continues after the break.
Now on CoastTV News.
Board power proposal. What revamps to a Delaware hospital budget law could move forward today in the state Senate.
Plus, Route 50 freeze, the big bridge closure in Ocean City, and the effect it is expected to have.
Also, crosswalk calls continue.
It needs to be done because we have to be safe.
What bicycle policy measures are getting a look at today in Lewis.
Frigid wind chills greeting us out the door this morning. Bundle up. We have a very cold day ahead of us. I'm tracking even more Arctic air and the threat of a weekend snowstorm.
This is CoastTV News Today.
January 20th, 2026. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for joining us on this nice Tuesday we're having.
5:31 a.m. We just heard Chris say threat of a snowstorm.
He did. He said the S word, snow.
Yeah. I don't know if some people, they love that. As I said during the break, when we were, this was a topic of conversation. My deal is if we didn't get that white Christmas, then the heck with it. But apparently,
and you had some people agreeing with you in our control room. People were saying they were endorsing your idea.
Well, there's some people in the control room. Our director, who shall remain nameless, he wants that snowstorm.
He wants it, and he is from Texas as well. So maybe it's just like you want a little piece of the winter. I feel like we're north enough, and Chris is saying we actually have a pretty big chance of seeing that this weekend.
Yeah, we'll have to wait as we move along. But let's talk about today, Tuesday. We know it's going to be cold. Let's go to First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono in the Weather Center with more. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Matt. Yeah, Matt, we're in the meat of the winter right now. This is usually when we get our snow here on Delmarva. As we take a live look into Salisbury, temperature there of 26 degrees. Winds are around 7 miles an hour. More importantly, the wind chill, what it actually feels like on our skin when we go outside. It feels like 10 in Harrington, feels like 16 in Georgetown, 12 in Seaford, and it feels like 13 in Lewis and Rehoboth. And that's all thanks to northwest winds gusting anywhere between about 20 to 25 miles an hour. We're going to continue to see breezy conditions through the morning and afternoon. The good news is we're going to have plenty of sunshine today. The bad news is we're not really going to warm up all that much. High pressure is going to continue sliding eastward and virtually park right over the area through the overnight. Wall-to-wall sunshine through the morning and afternoon, only topping out around 29. We may squeeze 30, 31 along the eastern shore, but with that wind, it's going to feel more like the teens. I'll have the latest on that potential snow over the weekend coming up.
Thank you, Chris. And our top story this half hour is the Route 50 bridge in downtown Ocean City set to close for a few weeks to traffic starting today.
We have our Elisa Weber live in our First Alert weather Jeep in Ocean City. The Maryland State Highway Administration says the detour
is in place. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. Right now, we are actually driving on the Route 50 bridge, going to show you that right now. So that closure is not happening right now. We do expect it to happen today. That's what MDOT has been saying, as well as the State Highway Administration. And we do expect this closure to start today and last until February 3rd. And MDOT says that this closure is necessary so that the drawbridge can be worked on. And the drawbridge actually has to remain upright during those repairs. MDOT says the work is being done to extend the service life of this 84-year-old bridge. There is a detour in place, which MDOT says will direct drivers to U.S. Route 113 to Maryland Route 90 to Coastal Highway. Here's what one person who uses the bridge had to say about the timing of the construction.
Now's the perfect time to actually have it closed because it is off season and a lot of the businesses down here are closed and there's not a lot of tourist activity coming across the bridge and the boat traffic is less.
And after February 3rd, MDOT says that single lane closures will be in place until this work is completed, and the date of completion is estimated to be around March 3rd. Back to you.
Thank you, Elisa. Let's take another look at what Elisa was just telling us about the detour. This is from our CoastCopter, and drivers will have to detour around the full closure of the Route 50 drawbridge. Officials say now through February 3rd. Traffic is getting routed up US 113 near Berlin, over Route 90, and then back into town on Coastal Highway. Ocean City's fire department is urging drivers to plan ahead, slow down, and give themselves extra time. And the department says staffing and resources are getting adjusted so emergency coverage remains strong on both sides of the Assawoman Bay.
Happening today in Dover, the Delaware State Senate taking up Bill 213, which are some tweaks to the law that created the Diamond State Hospital Cost Review Board.
Yeah, that was a big issue with hospitals. Under the law that was passed in 2024, the board would have authority in some cases to approve or change hospital budgets, and that prompted a lawsuit by Christiana Care.
Last week, Senate Bill 213 reported out of the executive committee, and it was removed or forwarded to the ready list.
Now, while there are still a number of requirements for hospitals, the act does remove the board's authority to change budgets. This just in, we're only a few hours away from learning about more musical performances at the Delaware State Fair. According to organizers, the next installment of Artists gets announced today at noon. The artists already revealed for the fair are Bailey Zimmerman with Chandler Waters for King and Country and Weird Al Yankovic with Puddle's Pity Party. Delaware State Fair takes place from July 23rd to August 1st.
Happening today, discussion and possible action over safety upgrades for two intersections in Lewis at New Road and Foxall Lane. That trail stops at the road with no crosswalk. It leaves people trying to walk or bike across to their own crossing guard. It's a similar story at the intersection of Gills Neck Road and the Lewis-Georgetown Trail. People say it's dangerous getting off and onto the road to go into the city.
Also taking place at that same meeting, there is discussion and possible action on a proposal to move stop signs at Monroe and Railroad Avenue. Also, according to the agenda, there's a recommendation to lower the speed limit in the city, and the Lewis Public Library installing a bulletin board next to the trail at Stango Park. The Lewis Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee meets tonight at 5:30. And this just in, protests continue in Minnesota against the actions of immigration enforcement.
Also, the Justice Department appealing a judge's order restricting how federal agents respond to demonstrators. Reed Binion showing us the increased tensions in the state.
Ice out! Ice out!
Anti-ICE protesters interrupting service at a St. Paul, Minnesota church on Sunday.
Renee Good!
The demonstrators said they were there to protest a top ICE official in the Twin Cities who apparently also serves as a pastor. Within hours, the Justice Department announced an investigation into the protesters. The demonstration, another example of growing tensions in Minnesota, coming as the Pentagon orders roughly 1,500 active duty soldiers to prepare for possible deployment to the state. Meanwhile, a lawyer for the family of Renee Good, who was fatally shot by an ICE agent earlier this month, is pushing for an investigation.
Let's let an investigator get all the facts and ultimately a judge or jury determine.
Sources now say the FBI did initially open a civil rights investigation into the agent who shot Good, but the focus quickly shifted to whether the agent was assaulted, with the probe now focused on the conduct of Good and those around her, including her widow. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said the Justice Department only investigates law enforcement shootings when it's appropriate, and, quote, that's not the case here.
Todd Blanche is telling us that he's determining on his own that that was a defensible act without an investigation.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
President Donald Trump took to social media to post a screenshot of a message reportedly between himself and French President. The caption on Truth Social post says, "Note from President Emmanuel Macron of France." Macron has recently blasted Trump's threat of tariffs over Greenland as, quote, unacceptable.
And we have a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Brandywine Valley SPCA honoring Dr. King, how people spent the day of service at the animal shelter.
Also, who's your champion? Indiana football reigns supreme over the college football world.
Plus, Sphere comes to new location where the major attraction is headed to next. Stay with us on CoastTV News today.
Good Tuesday morning, Delmarva. Hope you have a nice hot coffee or hot chocolate in hand this morning because you're going to need it when you step outside. 23 in Dover. Look at the dew point, -1, to give you an indicator of how dry the air is. 10. It feels like 10 in Easton, 12 in Salisbury, and it feels like 14 in Lewis. We'll continue to see wind gusts near 25 throughout the morning and throughout the day today. Behind that front that pushed through last night, we're going to see plenty of sunshine through the morning and afternoon. We begin around 19, feeling like 9 to 15 at the bus stop. By this afternoon, sunny and cold, 29. Feeling more like the teens for most of the day. You get your latest forecast by calling our First Alert weather phone. I'll have the latest on more Arctic air and the possibility of significant snow over the weekend.
It's Arctic air. Matt Pensick is shivering, chattering his teeth next to me. Maryland officials have announced plan to build a venue like the Las Vegas Sphere at the National Harbor in Prince George's County overlooking the Potomac River. The new Sphere would still have the exterior light display, but only have about 6,000 seats. State and local leaders say it could help replace lost entertainment venues in the area. And new
Dos
life.
Equis.
Dos Equis. Matt knew that was going to be a hard word for you. Dos Equis. Why don't you take over, Matt?
All right, Dos Equis giving new life to the most interesting man in the world advertising campaign. I love this when this campaign was out. Actor Jonathan Goldsmith is back in his role as the most interesting man. Dos Equis is trying to turn around sales. Grace, after a decline last year, the Mexican lager faces a broader trend of people drinking less beer.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
After losing 4 straight games to end 2025, Tattenall boys basketball had won 5 straight to start January, headed into yesterday's clash against McKean. Starting off the game is Jawan Painter from the corner for 3 for the Highlanders, and they jumped out to an early lead in this one. They get another 3. It's Tyler Earhart right this second time. So Tattenall a little slow off the jump, but ball movement helps the Hornets wake up, and Mason Collins ends up being free for the layup. Then the Hornets go to Isaac Azcona with a nice mid-range jump shot for the Hornets, but the Highlanders still lead 12-8 after 1 quarter. Ayinde McClendon, though, for Tattenall gets going after the first quarter. But then Cartier Johnson responds. So back and forth we go. That's when Mason Collins takes the game into his own hands, has a nice layup, but more importantly, towards the end of the first half, gets a huge block and then takes it down for a reverse layup for the Hornets the other way. Tattenall led 28-18 at halftime and cruised after the break to a 60-37 W. Make it 6 straight wins for the Hornets. That'll do it for sports. Have a great day.
And at 6, Crisfield visits Pocomoke in boys basketball. Then you can catch the final score at 10:30 p.m. And tonight on DSN Plus, along with that high school basketball game, you can watch women's college basketball when Maryland Eastern Shore hosts Coppin State. That game is at 6 p.m. Here is something that would have seemed foreign to many college football fans up until 2 years ago. The Indiana Hoosiers are the national champs. Last night they capped a perfect season by defeating Miami 27-21. It's the first national title in program history. The culture changed when head coach Kirk Cignetti arrived in Bloomington prior to the start of the 2024 season.
We're 16-0. 16. National champions at Indiana University, which I know a lot of people thought was never possible. It probably is one of the greatest sports stories of all time, but it's all because of these guys and the staff. So proud of them, and it's a great night.
Indiana has gone from one of the worst football programs in college football history to the best. The Indiana Hoosiers are the 2025 national champions.
And today in your entertainment news, your first look at documentaries about two remarkable people, and the latest, another remarkable guy, SpongeBob. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
Billy worked with Aretha Franklin, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, all the greats.
You're in the group. It's great. I like the fifth Beatle.
One of the greatest keyboard players of all time is profiled in Billy Preston, That's the Way God Planned It. The film traces the triumphs and troubles of the Grammy winner and Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. It's in theaters February 20th.
When I was 5 years old, I started my chess training.
This 12-year-old girl with the open ponytail, and she is just dominating.
A real-life Queen's Gambit plays out in Queen of Chess. The documentary looks at Judith Polgar, a Hungarian prodigy who fought the sport's patriarchy, became the first woman to defeat the legendary Garry Kasparov, and is regarded as the best female player ever. Queen of Chess debuts February 6th on Netflix.
I'm taking you to the underworld.
Bikini Bottom's most famous figure heads to home video. The SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, finds the Flying Dutchman taking the title character where no sponge has gone before. The adventure lands on digital platforms Tuesday with more than 20 minutes of bonus content. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Rough week? Cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from CoastTV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up now for free at coasttv.com/sign-up to get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
We have some frigid wind chills out there this morning. 29 is our forecasted high. We should be around 45. See the record 69 at sunrise at 7:16 this morning. We're going to see plenty of sunshine. Not going to warm us up all that much. I'll have the latest on a possibility of some significant snow over the weekend. My latest forecast is up next.
And the time is now 5:50 a.m. as we're taking a live look into Salisbury on this chilly and frigid. Chris, you also called it Arctic Tuesday morning. And the view we're looking at right now, Chris, we could come back this time next week and you're saying there could be some significant snow falling on the ground.
Yeah, we're trending in that direction for the weekend. Unfortunately or fortunately, if you're team snow or not team snow, as we go into this weekend. I'll have more on that here in a little bit. We're at 26 right now in Salisbury. Look at the dew point, 8, just an indicator of how dry the atmosphere is. Temperatures are holding in the lower to mid 20s at this hour, but more importantly, it's the wind chill. What it actually feels like stepping outside. It feels like 10 in Harrington, 12 in Seaford, 13 in Longneck, and 13 in Rehoboth Beach. We're gusting to 22 miles an hour Indian River Inlet as well as in Salisbury. Now we continue to have small craft advisories. Those continue through this early part of the evening through the Chesapeake as well as the Atlantic. We have plenty of clear skies out there, and we're pretty dry throughout most of the eastern half of the country. High pressure is building in, and that's going to keep the sunshine in play. We get up to 29 degrees this afternoon, but you can see it's only going to feel like 19 with those wind gusts near 25 miles an hour. Now, the good news with the wind is it will relax through the evening and into the early part of Wednesday. The bad news is with clear skies and calm winds, the temperatures are going to tank. 14-degree low in Georgetown, 12 in Greenwood. See a low of 15 in Selbyville. We stay clear and dry through Wednesday as well. We'll bump those temperatures into the lower to mid 40s, so a seasonably cool day across the area. Then as we go into Thursday, we bump it up into the lower 50s. That's going to be your pick of the week because unfortunately we have another Arctic front pushing through Friday night through Saturday, and that's going to set the stage for potential snow as we go into the weekend. We're going to have an area of low pressure develop off Texas and then spin off the North Carolina Carolina coast, a huge area of precipitation is going to set up across the Midwest, Ohio Valley, as well as the Mid-Atlantic. We're going to have snow, ice, and rain to the south, and we're expecting some potential heavy snowfall across the area to develop early Sunday morning. Now, there's still a lot of question marks as to the overall track of the storm. How far north does it get? How close does it get? There is a possibility we could mix with see a little warmer air push in off the ocean and mix, especially at the coast. That's still a possibility, and the storm could even linger into Monday, depending upon the speed of the storm. We fall to 25 into Saturday, 26, expecting that snow to develop early Sunday morning and could potentially continue even into Monday. Of course, we'll continue to fine-tune the forecast through the week, and you stay with the 44, stay with the would fall to 44 into Wednesday, and we'll continue to have all the coverage throughout the week.
Thank you, Chris. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is about service, and on Monday, local volunteers honor that message by giving back to their community. Instead of taking the day off, many people spent the holiday at the Brandywine Valley SPCA in Georgetown. Community members pitched in wherever help was needed, from sweeping floors and wiping down windows to doing laundry and dishes, all in support of animals across Delmarva. Mary Richardson, who works at the BVSPCA, says the experience offers a unique perspective.
It's a great opportunity for people to see a side of the shelter that they don't see when they don't come in as a volunteer. There's the adopter side of the shelter, and then there's the volunteer side. And this is just another way to look at everything at the shelter.
Organizers say acts of service like these help keep Dr. King's legacy alive, reminding us that giving back can make a lasting difference both for people and for pets in need. And that brings us to our CoastTV poll. We asked, what's the best way to help honor Dr. King's legacy?
Over half of you, 51% of you, are voting saying learn history. And then we have a good split between community service and peaceful reflection. A couple people voting for attending events. And if you haven't voted yet, you can still do so at coasttvnews.com or on the mobile app.
And the time is now 5:54 a.m. We were just checking in with some of the pets at the shelter. Why don't we check in with some of the viewers' pets?
Yeah, this one was a former cat at the BVSPCA. On your screen, that's Jade. Jade found her forever family 3 years ago and loves watching Coast TV. Well, we love looking at this picture of Jade here. Jade was submitted to us by Brady and Lewis.
She is a beautiful cat. Thank you for watching, Jade. We want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. You could send us photos, tell us what makes them so special, maybe what their favorite TV show is. If you take a look at your screen now.
Maybe their favorite anchor. Scan that QR code at the top of your screen to submit your furry friend to Coast TV News, or I guess the friend doesn't have to have fur. Iguana or lizard or something like that.
Reptile or fish.
Yeah. Then watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature. As we bring back First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. Chris, we continue with these below freezing conditions.
Yeah, we're going to stay below the freezing mark today, even with sunshine, and it's going to feel like 19 through the afternoon with the wind chill. Now, we're going to stay sunny and dry, seasonably cool into Wednesday, 51 by Thursday. Then another Arctic front arrives Friday into Saturday, and that sets the stage for potential significant snow Sunday through Monday. We'll continue to fine-tune the forecast through the week.
Thank you, Chris. And coming up in our next hour, Drawbridge Detour, the next step in the road project at the Route 50 Bridge in Ocean City, and how it affects drivers and businesses. That and more when we continue with Coast TV News Today.